my brain, it happens all the time. I close my eyes and...
Hey guys, my name is Lauren Hope Glory. I'm the CEO of Moving On TV.
The anger you display, I really cannot take. Want to break the barriers that you and I would make. There'll always be a part of you down deep inside. In the corners of my heart, you're always on my mind. Wish we were together, not all alone. Wish we were together, not all alone. I try to follow all the cycles of the night. Up and down the feelings go, I know it is right. Reaching out to touch your love, but emptiness is here. Wish that you were here again. You'll always be there.
Why am I all black and white? Whatever. Anyway, my name's Baba Bert and this is me vlog. Me vlog day one. Still saying one day at a time. I'm sorry, I've only got a white towel. I'm at Janie's and I've got a nice new shower cap.
Reaching out to touch your love, but emptiness is here. Wish that you were here again. You'll always be there.
Bonjour, my name is Lauren Hope Glory. I am the ghost. I am the actress that plays the part of Piaf. And I am asking you to sponsor Moving On TV because when I go on the stage, I bare my face to the audience and say, I would la faire. And that is why I only wear nude makeup, organic. And so I am looking for a sponsor who will come on board Moving On TV with us, who does organic makeup, because that's all I'll wear on this beautiful shell, as will Piafa as well. Please contact us at movingontv1@gmail.com and join the party. No, yes, yes. Bonjour. Bye-bye.
This is your day now, your day to shine. Take back the gifts you have and make the world your shrine. Make it you have and make the world your shrine. Make it the best you can.
And Ethan actually joined me on Instagram, and I've got Restream on here. We are live everywhere apart from LinkedIn, as I said, because we haven't figured that one out yet. And Ethan is in the studio. I can see him. I've got my football gear on, so I thought I got red for Arsenal and blue, I think it's for Chelsea. I'm not sure, but we'll soon find out, because let's bring on the man himself. He's going to be doing a show here about football on Moving On TV. So welcome to Moving On TV, Mr. Ethan Sykes. Hi, Ethan. Hello. I can't hear you.
Hello. There we go. I'm unmuted.
I can hear you now. How are you? Are you still?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you still on Instagram as well? Because I've got.
I am. I've got both up.
Right. Okay. As you can see, I've got Instagram Live on here. I've got Hap on here. Hap goes everywhere. So we've got about 12 people watching, which is really cool. Because the last couple of weeks, all I used to have was last month I had one person and a bot, but now it's starting to grow, which is nice. So it's really good to see you here. So where are you? What part of the country are you in?
So I live in London, in southeast England, so Bromley kind of area.
Okay, well, I'm southeast. I'm High Wycombe.
Oh, so not too bad then.
Not too far. Okay, so hang on a second. I just want to make sure that, yeah, okay, we haven't got any echo or anything. Okay, so let's start this way. I found you on Star Now as a performer. An actor, a performer. And so how did you get involved? Where did all your talents start? You talk to me a little bit about that first, and then we're going to go into your passion about football, okay? So I'm going to mute. So tell me a little bit about your acting first.
Yeah, so I started off obviously as a kid in every single nativity play you can dream of. I was Joseph, I was a sheep, I was a king, you name it. I've done every single role physically possible. And then I kind of enjoyed just watching football and seeing how the commentators did it and just commentating at home on how it works. And then during COVID, I was lucky enough to get a volunteers role. It's basically a job. It's a volunteers job at Sutton United Women, commentating and doing all their media, so commentary, cameras, sound, everything. And I love it because it's football. And then during lockdown 2018, I decided I decided I was going to go to university and do a degree in television production. So that's kind of straight away helped me get into what I want to do. It kind of also helped me from not being confident on camera to non-stop talking. And obviously I presented 3 shows with one of my best mates, Harry. So we presented 3 shows within the uni, which have done really well for our degree. So yeah.
Okay, let me just bring myself back in. Okay, thank you. So what team do you support?
I'm Manchester City, which is really bad.
Okay, that's a bit far from Bromley. So you see, I don't get this. You know, I really don't. My father used to support Arsenal because he grew up in the area and that's all he knew. So why would someone who lives in London, in Bromley, support Manchester City? Can you explain that to me? Because I know very little about football.
So my dad was born and bred in Manchester. So his dad is Manchester United, but my dad is Manchester City. So I've basically just followed in my dad's footsteps. I've made the correct choice in football teams. So.
Okay. Have you ever played football? Did you ever get involved, like actually play football, or is it just a fan? Are you just a fan?
I played it quite a lot at school when I was in secondary school, and then I played 1 or 2 games for my university team. But because of how much I work most of the time, I work in security and I do lots of volunteering for Sutton United, so I don't really have the time to find anything else to go into it really. But I have played a few times, not many though.
Right. That sounds really exciting. So when you say you do volunteer, you explained a little bit that you're kind of like the social media person. This is a women's football team you're talking about? So
Yeah,
did you say
so
that in you?
it's all women's football, and I have a strong belief that women's football should be the complete same as men's football. Obviously, women's football isn't known as much as men's football is because it's apparently a men's sport, but I completely disagree, and I love my job. I do social media, I present, I commentate. It is like one of the greatest jobs I've ever been offered, and luckily I'm still there and now the assistant head of media. So
Okay, that sounds really exciting. Maybe you could get them on, maybe interview
I'll
them
try
on
my best.
TV. I'd love that. But you've got someone here called Alexander Davies who's saying Manchester City are bad. What does that mean? As I say, I don't know anything about football. Can you
So
answer?
he's one of my mates, and he does not enjoy me watching Manchester City. So he's just abusing my team, saying they're not very good.
Well,
Thanks, Alex.
Alexander, that's not very nice. Do you mind subscribing to Moving on TV as a penance? Thank you very much. So he's bantering, basically.
He's a wind-up.
He's a wind-up character. Okay, so let's come back again to your passion, which is doing all this commentary stuff around football and everything. As I say, I know very little about football. What is it about football that fascinates people, especially men? What is it? Can you maybe they call it? Why do they call it the beautiful game? I mean, explain to me a little bit about that. Like,
I don't know what it is. I think it's kind of a time for men and women just to go and have fun. But obviously, football isn't always going to be fun because your team's going to lose. But it kind of gives people the ability to let themselves go and give themselves some free time. I mean, I started watching football because it was the normal thing to do. But when football obviously first started, it wasn't going to be a natural thing. But I think people just enjoy watching it and playing it because they feel a part of a family. So obviously as a team, you've got fans, and then the fans will come together as one big family, which I think people just like so much. And obviously then there's the drinking and all that type of stuff. But I think the main focus, and it's the beautiful game because so many things happen. I mean, I said it in a video a couple of months ago. During the Euros in 2020 on the 12th of June, Simon Kjaer, his teammate, unfortunately had a heart attack. But at that moment in time, the entire world came together. It didn't matter the team, the nationality. Everyone was pouring in hope and prayers for that footballer. So I think it's kind of a mixture of being together as one, all being in the same game, but also the rivalry between the team.
Okay, Ethan, just one thing. I was wondering if you could you turn your camera a little bit to actually look towards the audience, because we're seeing you look into the side, and it'd be better if you could look at the people as you're talking. It would help your connection with them. Is that better? That's better. Now I can actually see you better as well. So, okay. So, who in your family inspires you to do all of this stuff? Is there anybody at all in your family that is involved in the stage or acting or anything like that? Or, because that is the other side of it, is when I watch you presenting, you're very funny, you've got a great personality, and I asked you to do it again sitting down because I love the way you set it. It's just like an ordinary, bedroom kind of, it's like you're sitting there on your bedroom or your couch, and it's just like a normal guy, and I quite like that, because the whole of moving on TV is all about ordinary with inverted commas people, that I'm trying to keep people happy and balanced and give them lots of positive stuff, and to get them to identify with what you're doing, so maybe they'll want to do it. But did you have anyone in your life at all that mentored you to help you to build this confidence so that you can actually do this?
Yeah, I think my dad's helped me a lot. My dad's worked in TV for 20 or 30 odd years as a systems broadcast engineer, and he didn't get me into the presenting side because he does more of the technical side, but I kind of got into this through my dad and my uncle. My uncle owns his own company, and I do more of the technical side, but it's not the same. The technical side is more numbers and wiring and all that type of stuff, but I think being in front of the camera is actually better. It's more enjoyable, and I enjoy communicating with people, communicating with an audience, and I just think that's the best thing that there is, make someone happy with your communication, basically.
Yeah, exactly. In order you're connecting to the audience, and that's, hang on, bringing you in order to present an image of football that actually excites me as well. So how can you do that? Make me really fascinated with football. I tell you one thing, Ethan. I was telling the viewers before. When I grew up, we used to live above a football pitch. I grew up in Israel, and they had built a football pitch just underneath the flats. And me and my dad, every Saturday, we used to sit on the balcony and we watch Maccabi. I don't know if you know any of the teams from Israel, because they were quite famous. Avi Cohen, wasn't it? Famous Israeli footballers that actually belong to Manchester United, and because they kind of move around, don't they? But I remember we used to sit there and we used to watch football every Saturday. We'd sit, and that was my only connection to it. And then when I left and came back to England, and I broke away from it all, and I was never really interested in it again. But my dad was obsessed with football. It was his whole life. So what I want you to do is to come on here and to do a program with bantering and jokes and fun. Look, you're smiling, you're laughing. You see, I got there. That's what I wanted. I wanted to see you smile. Okay, so carry on with that vibration. Do you understand what I'm talking about when I talk about vibrations? Yeah. Fantastic, because you wouldn't be on Moving on TV if you didn't. Okay, so there you go. I love it. That's what I want. Okay, then stay there and explain to me why should I be passionate about football? How are you going to sell it to me?
I think you should be passionate about football just because of the love of the game. I mean, there's moments that just shock people. Like, the one that comes to my head all the time is my team, which is always great, Manchester City versus QPR, and we were losing, unfortunately, but in the 93rd minute we won the league, and that always just brings joy to my head. It's like, how on earth has that happened? It's so unexpected, because there was only about 30 to 40 seconds left of the game, but the football is so unexpected at all times. It's just one of them things where one day it could be really boring, but the next day it's going to be amazing. And I'm lucky that I work with closely with one of the football teams, but I like the amount of banter that we have between each other, and the amount of things that go on during a football game is unreal. Like, I work in non-league football, which is one that doesn't have a lot of fans, and it's just the chants. Some of the chants are just, they're just unreal. They shouldn't be allowed to chant.
Then? Like what?
Ones that we can't probably say on TV, but it's just amusing. Like, they will just abuse the goalkeeper the entire game, and it's just amusing and just hilarious to see fans together, all together as one, abusing someone. Not so much that it hurts them, but so much that they enjoy it together.
Okay, so obviously the goalkeeper is part of this. You're not, it's not a type of bullying. You're actually all working together. It's like a show. It's like a show, isn't it? that's
exactly.
probably why you enjoy it so much as well, because it's like being involved in theatre, like being in
Yes,
a show, isn't it? So,
exactly
but
that.
you know, the way you talk as well, it's like you guys have ownership over your football club. It's like it's ours, it's a family, it's a community thing. Yeah. And that,
100%.
yeah, and that's why you really enjoy it. Now, when
Yes.
I spoke, I just want to ask you about vibrations, because I spoke to you about vibrations and you said you knew what meant about that. What's your concept then of being in a certain vibration? Like, you could present a program and you could be like, hello there, my name is Ethan. But you're not. So go on then. So explain to me, because I always try to keep people on the highest vibration possible, because when you do that, then they know there's more possibilities for their life. So would you like to explain what it means to you to be on a higher vibration?
I think it means to me like you need to have energy. There's certain people on TV that I just get bored of watching. I'm not going to mention the names, but they just sit there and they just say, "Oh, this is what's going on." But there's certain people. I mean, take Ant and Dec, take Philip Schofield, Holly Willoughby. They always have so much energy when they're presenting TV that I always want to be drawn back into the show. I think if you don't have an energy or a vibrant aroma, then nobody's going to come and watch. They're just going to turn off and go, "Oh, this is boring, and I don't want to watch this." But I think most people, if you have enough energy that you can engage with your audience, and you'll be sorted.
Okay, so here's a deep question, because I do go deep. Where does that energy come from? What do you think it is?
My personal energy comes from ADHD. So it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So I have a lot of energy all the time. So no matter the day, no matter the minute, no matter the hour, I will always have so much energy that I just struggle to do anything. I struggle to even go to bed because I just can't. I'm buzzing all the time. But if you don't have that, then the energy will just come from doing something you love. Like I enjoy watching football. I enjoy commentating on football. I enjoy watching YouTube. So if you can't find energy, do something you enjoy and it'll bring your energy up and up, and then you'll be able to do whatever you want.
Okay, it's interesting you said that, because we're mental health TV, and to me all of these things, I have ADHD, I have a bit of everything. I have like a pick a mix of everything, honestly. But I'm not going to go into my story. I don't know if you read anything about me, but creativity is the most important thing in life. If you've got any kind of condition, you can put it into your creativity. But do you breathe? Do you
Not really.
breathe? No.
Rarely.
Okay. Yes, I'm picking that up. Because let me tell you something, because I've got a lot of experience of being on the stage, and the best performances I have given is when I pause.
Yes.
When you pause, you actually are able to get a really, really good performance. Hang on, isn't that funny? We just paused on Instagram, right? We're back again. You see, the universe is telling us we need to pause and take a breath. So okay, so when did you get diagnosed? How long ago were you diagnosed?
When I was born. I only found out about it when I was 10, 11, but my parents had told me that when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, they kind of knew straight away that I was, but I haven't let it affect me. I mean, through secondary school, it affected me a lot more than it has now. But because I'm now older, I now know how to work around it and understand it more. But in secondary school, I was a terror.
Right, what did you do?
I was everything I shouldn't have done. Everything I shouldn't have done.
Like what? Without getting, I mean,
I mean,
seriously.
I bunked lessons. I ate lots of sugar during the class and just got more and more hyper and did no work and just got into trouble all the time.
Okay. And how did you become aware then that these things were making you worse?
By the amount of detentions, like I think between the time I started school and the time I finished school, I must have had between close to 300, 400 detentions, and I was in school for what 4, 5, 6 years, and it just became more and more boring, just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. So I kind of when I got into sixth form, I was like, right, I need to switch on and understand that I can't mess around all the time. I need to listen. And then sixth form was a breeze. I behaved most of the time and loved it. So
yeah, okay. So it was boredom. You were bored.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So, because you can't fit a child into a box. Everyone is unique. Everyone is unique. And you see, again, this. But what would happen, Ethan? Again, I'm very controversial. I go very deep. If you were offered a part that you really needed to just pause and stop and really, really get inside. Have you ever had a part like that? Because you said you did a lot of nativity shows. You've done all the different characters, the sheep and Jesus and everybody, but I'm talking about real serious acting. Have you ever done a part where you needed to literally just pause, become that character and really, really get inside? I mean, do you think that you see, I'm not sure about the difference. Is it ADD or ADHD? Because I know they're two different things, aren't they?
Yeah, so ADD is attention deficit disorder. So that basically means that you have a short attention span and you like don't listen to everything that comes around. You kind of have what I call selective hearing. But then ADHD has obviously got the attention, then the deficit, and then the hyperactivity. So like I wasn't allowed to eat blue Smarties as a kid because they're so high in E numbers that I would go mental straight away. I would lose it and just go hyper.
Well, welcome to show business.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
Welcome to show business. This is basically what happens to all of us. And this is one of the reasons I created Moving on TV, because there's nowhere to perform. So we have to perform in some way, or else,
Yeah.
we go completely mad. I do a lot of inner work on myself, and I'm just doing a new program called Trigger Me. When I get triggered, I go inside and I kind of figure it out. But so as I said, because you're an actor, you're a good actor, I can see you're a great presenter, you're a good actor. How would you be able to use the weaknesses or the strengths of ADD? There's always a strength in there. The mind works differently. It works in a more creative way. But how could you create a character that was very still if you took that on and you really wanted to do that? Because you see, with acting, you can act as if you're a bit like a medium. You can close your eyes and you can take on something and say, I'm going to be Gandhi today. I'm going to do this part as Gandhi. And then you'll get your stillness. Do you understand? Is that the way that you, because I'm trying again to appeal to people out there that say they've got kids like you, a kid that non-stop detention. What advice would you give that parent? Should they put their kid on the stage, for example?
I think what helped me is when I was in year 8, I joined something called the Royal Air Force Air Cadets, and the Air Cadets I'm still there now. I've been there for 9 years, and I think being in the cadets allowed me to realize who I was, because there's a certain type of discipline within the cadets that there's a certain type of discipline that is different to school, because you have to go to school, but I chose to go to cadets because I found it enjoyable. Whereas at school it was just boredom. So I think if I had to give one piece of advice, I'd say find something they enjoy doing. If they enjoy going to football, take them to football. If they enjoy going to the park, take them to the park after school. But what really helped me is that I was worn out most days. I mean, I'd get into school at 7:30 in the morning, go home, eat, and then not get home from cadets till 10 o'clock at night. So I was completely worn out. But I think having a structure as well, because there's a few, obviously it's autism you have to have a structure at all times, but with ADHD it also helps because you need to have the structure that you're going to get up, you're going to get changed, you're going to go out, and if you have the same structure every single day, then your mind will think, right, okay, this is what I need to do, and it will try and calm you down slightly.
Sorry, I muted myself there, but I forgot to put your name on there.
That's all right.
Yeah, that is interesting because that's what I teach. I teach structure. I have techniques that I learned because the mind will go out of control so quickly in so many different ways. You have to have structure, like every day you have to get up and say, you have to have at least one thing to do that you know you can keep your brain structured. That's really, really good. And what you said, it's really interesting as well, what you said about the air cadets. again, the way I grew up, we went in the army. When you got to the age of 18, you were conscripted into the army. You had no choice. It was, you know, and the discipline of the army is what really, really helps you, because it gives you the structure. You know, I don't believe in armies, I don't believe in wars, but I do believe you can take something from that, you know, in order to be able to structure the mind, you know. Hello?
Yeah, 100%.
You still there? Right, okay. So tell us a little bit, what are you going to call your program?
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I had thought of calling it Football Focus, but we'd have been fined massively because of copyright claims on BBC. So that's probably not a smart idea. I think if it's going to be anything, it'll be football past and future, or football past and present, kind of what football has looked like in the last couple of weeks. And what football is looking like in the next week or so, kind of looking at specific things. So I think, I don't know whether or not it's gone live, but the one I spoke to, filmed for yourself, obviously spoke about Australian footballer Josh Cavallo, and he was an inspiration to many. He's a professional footballer for Adelaide United, and he is the world's first openly gay footballer. And I think doing something like, it was covered by some news sources, but I think having it covered a lot more would be better. So I think within the show, every week there will be kind of a thing that is brought the football world together, or a thing that has made the football world
Going to be Gandhi today. I'm going to do this part as Gandhi, and then you'll get your stillness. Do you understand?
Hyperactive disorder, so I have a lot of energy all the time. So no matter the day, no matter the minute, no matter the hour, I will always have so much energy that I just struggle to do anything. I struggle to even go to bed because I just can't. I'm buzzing all the time. But if you don't have that, then the energy will just come from doing something you love. Like, I enjoy watching football. I enjoy commentating on football. I enjoy watching YouTube. So if you can't find energy, do something you enjoy, and it will bring your energy up and up, and then you'll be able to do whatever you want.
Okay, it's interesting you said that, because we're mental health TV, and to me, all of these things, I have ADHD, I have a bit of everything. I have like a pick a mix of everything, honestly. But I'm not going to go into my story. I don't know if you've read anything about me, but creativity is the most important thing in life. If you've got any kind of condition, you can put it into your creativity. But do you breathe? Do you
Not really.
No.
Rarely.
Okay. Yes, I'm picking that up. Because let me tell you something, because I've got a lot of experience of being on the stage, and the best performances I have given is when I pause.
Yes.
When you pause, you actually are able to get a really, really good performance. Hang on, isn't that funny? We just paused on Instagram. Right, we're back again. You see, the universe is telling us we need to pause and take a breath. Okay, so when did you get diagnosed? How long ago were you diagnosed?
When I was born. I only found out about it when I was 10, 11, but my parents had told me that when I was 3, 4, 5, 6, they kind of knew straight away that I was, but I haven't let it affect me. I mean, through secondary school, it affected me a lot more than it has now. But because I'm now older, I now know how to work around it and understand it more. But in secondary school, I was a terror.
Right, what did you do?
I was everything I shouldn't have done. Everything I shouldn't have done.
Like what? Without getting. Seriously.
I bunked lessons. I ate lots of sugar during the class and just got more and more hyper and did no work and just got into trouble all the time.
Okay. And how did you become aware then that these things were making you worse?
By the amount of detentions. Like, I think between the time I started school and the time I finished school, I must have had between close to 300, 400 detentions. And I was in school for, 4, 5, 6 years, and it just became more and more boring just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. So I kind of, when I got into sixth form, I was like, right, I need to switch on and understand that I can't mess around all the time. I need to listen. And then sixth form was a breeze. I behaved most of the time and loved it. So
yeah, okay, so it was boredom. You were bored.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
I get it. So, because you can't fit a child into a box. Everyone is unique. Everyone is unique. And you see, again, but what would happen, Ethan? Again, I'm very controversial. I go very deep. If you were offered a part that you really needed to just pause and stop and really, really get inside. Have you ever had a part like that? Because you said you did a lot of nativity shows. You've done all the different characters, the sheep and Jesus and everybody. But I'm talking about real serious acting. Have you ever done a part where you needed to literally just pause, become that character, and really, really get inside? I mean, do you think that you see, I'm not sure about the difference. Is it ADD or ADHD? Because I know they're two different things, aren't they?
Yeah, so ADD is attention deficit disorder. So that basically means that you have a short attention span and you don't listen to everything that comes around. You kind of have what I call selective hearing. But then ADHD has obviously got the attention, then the deficit, and then the hyperactivity. So I wasn't allowed to eat blue Smarties as a kid because they're so high in E numbers that I would go mental straight away. I would lose it and just go hyper.
Oh, welcome to show business.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
Welcome to show business. This is basically what happens to all of us. And this is one of the reasons I created Moving on TV, because there's nowhere to perform. So we have to perform in some way, or else, we got completely mad. You know, I do a lot of inner work on myself, and I'm just doing a new program called Trigger Midi. When I
Okay.
get triggered, I go inside and I kind of figure it out. But so yeah, so as I said, because you're an actor, you're a good actor, I can see you're a great presenter, you're a good actor. How would you be able to use the weaknesses of, or you know, the strengths of ADD? There's always a strength in there. You know, the mind works differently, it works in a more creative way. But how could you create a character that was very still if you took that on and you really wanted to do that? Because you see, with acting, you can act as if you're a bit like a medium. You can close your eyes and you can take on something and say, I'm going to be Gandhi today.
Hmm.
I'm going to do this part as Gandhi. And then you'll get your stillness. Do you understand? Is
Exactly
that
that.
a way that you, because I'm trying again to appeal to people out there that say they've got kids like you, a kid that non-stop attention. What advice would you give that parent? Should they put their kid on the stage, for example?
I think what helped me is when I was in year 8, I joined something called the Royal Air Force Air Cadets, and the Air Cadets I'm still there now. I've been there for 9 years, and I think being in the cadets allowed me to realize who I was, because there's a certain type of discipline within the cadets that there's a certain type of discipline that is different to school, because you have to go to school, but I chose to go to cadets because I found it enjoyable, whereas at school it was just boredom. So I think if I had to give one piece of advice, I'd say find something they enjoy doing. If they enjoy going to football, take them to football. If they enjoy going to the park, take them to the park after school. But what really helped me is that I was worn out most days. I mean, I'd get into school at 7:30 in the morning, go home, eat, and then not get home from cadets till 10 o'clock at night. So I was completely worn out. But I think having a structure as well, because there's a few, obviously it's autism you have to have a structure at all times, but with ADHD it also helps because you need to have the structure that you're going to get up, you're going to get changed, you're going to go out. And if you have the same structure every single day, then your mind will think, right, okay, this is what I need to do, and it will try and calm you down slightly.
Sorry, I muted myself there, but I forgot to put your name on there.
That's all right.
Yeah, that is interesting because that's what I teach. I teach structure. I have techniques that I learned because the mind will go out of control so quickly in so many different ways. You have to have structure, like every day you have to get up and say, you have to have at least one thing to do that
Yeah.
you know you can keep your brain structured. That's really, really good. And what you said, it's really interesting as well, what you said about the air cadets. Again, the way I grew up, we went in the army. When you got to the age of 18, you were conscripted into the army. You had no choice. It was, you know, and the discipline of the army is what really, really helps you because it gives you the structure. You know, I don't believe in armies, I don't believe in wars, but I do believe you can take something from that, you know, in order to be able to structure the mind, you know? Hello?
Yeah, 100%.
You still there? Right, okay. So tell us a little bit, what are you going to call your program?
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I had thought of calling it Football Focus, but we'd have been fined massively because of copyright claims on BBC. So that's probably not a smart idea. I think if it's going to be anything, it'll be football past and future, or football past and present, kind of what football has looked like in the last couple of weeks and what football is looking like in the next week or so, kind of looking at specific things. So I don't know whether or not it's gone live, but the one I spoke to, filmed for yourself, obviously spoke about Australian footballer Josh Cavallo, and he was an inspiration to many. He's a professional footballer for Adelaide United, and he is the world's first openly gay footballer. And I think doing something like, it was covered by some news sources, but I think having it covered a lot more would be better. So I think within the show, every week there will be kind of a thing that has brought the football world together, or a thing that has made the football world realise this is something different. So this month within the Premier League, it's Rainbow Laces, which basically stands out and shows that we're all together, and it's supporting LGBTQ. So I don't know how many of the players will wear them, but most of the players will have rainbow laces on their shoes. And I did have them, but I lost them at the minute. But I think 100% probably football past and present, or football past and future.
Okay, that sounds amazing. Well, basically, we've got to make people are real, they're unique, they're real, and they have a right to be whatever they want to be. It's not my business. It's no one's business, really. The
Not
fact
at
that
all.
you even say that this person is gay, it's no one's business. But then I
No.
do understand that he's kind of trying to get rid of the stigma the same way as I am doing my best to get rid of the stigma of mental health issues. So that, but I love that, because I've got someone else who's doing a program called The Ordinary Man Behind the Glory, and he's done Jimi Hendrix, he's doing
Oh,
David
wow.
Bowie, and he's going to do Jesus. We're just looking at the man, because that's, I think we need to do that in Moving on TV, because I want everyone, I keep trying to drum it into everyone how unique they are and how special they are, and how they have a right to be whatever they want to be. And it's all about freedom, and we're living in a world at the moment where I can't talk about a lot of things on here, Ethan, and I'm not going to bring them up, but I believe everyone has a right to be free. I think you know where I'm coming from, but I can't say it on here. But everyone has a right to be free. It's no one's business what you do, or your sexual orientation definitely shouldn't even come into the equation. But I think it's going to be fascinating, because we're talking about the life. I mean, remember The Elephant Man? Remember that film, The Elephant Man?
I've
About
not
the
seen
man that was John Hurt did this film about a man who was completely disfigured. He had been injured, and he literally did, his whole body. Try and find it, because you might get a chance to play the parts of the character. John, what's his name played it? I can't remember his name, but fabulous English actor, John something. And this Elephant Man, he was a real man, but he was so disfigured, and but he was real.
That's
He was
amazing.
real, and that's what I want on Moving on TV. I want real. Like you sat here and you're telling me I've got this, and this is how it was in school, and I struggled, and people want to see real people. And one of the problems with the mainstream media is you can't anymore. You see celebrities with plastic lives, but every single person who's coming on to Moving on TV is real. And that's where the message gets through to people that, it's okay to be real. It's okay to sit here and say, hi, I'm Ethan and I've got problems. I am Lauren. I've got problems. I'm not afraid to tell you, so that you can see that you are real as well. Yeah. So that's very, very exciting. So, okay. So that's going to be your first program. And so you're going to, what about Bobby Charlton? Because my dad loves Bobby Charlton.
Legend.
Could you do something about Bobby Charlton and his backgrounds, and because again, it's football used to be just people used to play for the sake of playing. Now it's become money and greed, and I mean the amount. I think that's one of the reasons is that I balked at the thought of putting anything about football and Moving on TV in the beginning, is because of the homeless people that are, if I was as rich as that, no one could be homeless. And you're the same. I know, because I could feel it. But when you think about the fact is, I want you to show the other side of this beautiful game, the community, the recognition, the real life stories, the gut-wrenching life stories, like the first black player, Pele. Pele. These are the names that come to mind, you know, from my childhood. Pele and all these superstars. What was really behind their childhood, you know, and how did they get to be what they were? Because just like you and me. So yeah, it's really, really fascinating. So is there anything else you'd like to say to people to make them want to watch your program?
I think it doesn't matter if you don't like football. I think I'm not going to big myself up, but I think even if you're not into football, I think try watching enough people, because I started off in school. As I say, I started off as a little rodent. I've got bigger and bigger, and I think give people a chance. Kind of, even if you're not going to enjoy what they do, kind of just show and be active. And then what will happen later on in life is if you, for instance, speak to, I don't know, one of your best friends who's on a live show, if they become famous or a celebrity, you never know, they may come back down to you and say, you helped me in this place, I'm going to help you here. So I think even if you're not into football, just come along, have a watch, and if you're not enjoying it, just I mean, I just leave. Like, it's not going to hurt at all. I think one of the main things that, as you said, we find nowadays is with celebrities is just they're so fake. But I think, especially on this channel, moving on TV, it's nobody here is going to be fake. They're going to be completely honest, and they're just going to show you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about anything, because there's nothing to worry about ever. I think that's the main problem with being on making YouTube videos and Instagram videos. I think people worry so much about the backlash, but I think on here it's a safe place and you don't need to worry about anything.
I love it. You know, I love the synchronicity. Do you know what synchronicity is? When things just happen, like you could coincidences, but they're not real. I just picked up the phone. I found you there on, you know, when you applied. I rang you up and said, "Hi, Ethan," and then I said, "Would you like to do a program about football?" I just got a gut feeling that that's what you would be good at, that you would really, really enjoy doing something like that. So I'm also very, very interested. Okay, just talk a little bit about the women football team that you're helping with. Is there a difference between working? Have you worked with a male football team? Is there a difference between the work that goes on with the women? I mean, obviously, come on the physical level as well. I mean, I know that footballers, and people don't believe me, footballers have to learn ballet, don't they? Because of balance. And everybody thought I'm making this up. They think that ballet is silly and it's just for girls. But no, David Beckham had to learn ballet. But so coming back to that question, is there a different way of approaching the training when it comes to a female football team and a male football team, or do they just get, you know, just go for it? The same as the army, because I think with the army they don't big punches. They literally just do the same training for men and women. So what would you say? Is there a difference?
I think it depends on the level you play. I mean, I work with a team that isn't professional. They're just a normal Sunday league team that train once, twice a week. And then on the other side, for my other job, I work with the Crystal Palace first team. And straight away, you can see a massive difference, because the professional players will kind of just go to training like, oh, we've got to train again, because they train every single day. But it doesn't matter to them, because they're being paid thousands of pounds a week to run around a football pitch. But they're not always there to enjoy it. Whereas some of the Sunday league teams, like the one I work for, they put their all into every single game, no matter what, and they're not getting any financial gain out of it. They're getting the love of football, and there's a clear difference straight away. I mean, if you look at professional women's football and men's professional football, you'll see the amount of love and fans that they get from so many people. Like where I work at Crystal Palace, when the game finishes, we have hundreds of people waiting to get signatures. But then if you go over to women's football, the likelihood is you're not going to get anything. They're just going to be clapped off by their fans, and that's about it. So there is a huge difference, but you don't see it unless you work within the football club internally.
Okay, that's really interesting. It kind of brings to mind amateur theatre and professional, that sometimes the people that are working as amateurs, they actually enjoy it more because there's no pressure. They don't have to worry about it, and also it's not a job. So there's a difference between the pressure of having a job and just doing it from here, from your gut, because or your heart, because you love it so much. So where do you prefer to work? Which space are you happier in?
I think I preferred the women's football purely because with the men's football, it's so restricted what I'm allowed to do, because I just work on security. But I think within the women's team, I've built that relationship with them where we'll just have a joke, we'll laugh around, say, oh, you were rubbish today. But it's just a generic conversation with them, and it's a volunteer role, but that doesn't matter to me, because I am doing things for them that every other professional league football team will have, but I'm doing it on a level that will help them. And I think I 100% prefer that, because within the women's football where I work, we're such a close team. We communicate most days, and whereas with my other job, with the Premier League team, I'm just there to protect them. want twice, 3 times a month when there's a game. So 100% with the women's team.
Okay. I think a lot of people expected you to say that. What about you? Are you in a relationship at all? Have you met
No.
anyone? Through the
No.
women's team?
No. So
Oh.
this is the funny thing. My dad says this to me every single week. You got a girlfriend yet? And I'm like, no, I'm waiting. Like, I would rather wait and find the one.
Yeah, but you're surrounded by beautiful women all the time in this women's team. So
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. I'll tell you that much.
Where do they get the energy to kick a ball like that? I mean, surely don't you need to really, really build up those muscles to be able to score a goal? I mean,
I think it depends. Like, the Premier League team, obviously, they're muscly. They've got loads. They're really fit all the time. But within the women's football team in the lower leagues, it's not really about physicality. It's more about the willingness to want to play the game, because obviously every game is about the willingness, but within the non-league women's teams and the younger women's teams and the Sunday League, it's more about just the love of the game, and that if they put their all into it, they're going to go a long way.
right. Right. We've got a few people joining us here on Instagram. We've got Mia. And T2, oh, I don't know. I get these strange colds. I think some of them are bots. You don't get them on Instagram so much, but on here, I think we've got your friend Alexander is still on there.
Not surprised.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure to have you on here, Ethan. I'm really excited.
Thank you for having me.
About getting your program out there and building up fans for football, keeping people happy, but bringing in new people like me who can understand more the love of this beautiful game of football from a different point of view. To the point of view that I always looked at it, you know, for years and years now, like we were saying, you know, the amount of money, I'm hoping that the world that we're going to see in the next few years is going to change that, and that people will do things, they'll do it from the heart. Like, you're doing this program for practically nothing. You know, a lot of young people like you, they, oh no, I want to be a star. And I know I was like that when I was 19. But nowadays, we know we have to build it up. We have to graft to get to the level. Oh, hi, Maria. Maria was on yesterday. She's doing a program about numbers. And it's absolutely fascinating. I know the
Interesting.
you'll have to watch it. It's about removing numbers from our life in the way that how many likes do I get and how many this, and
Wow.
it's a really, really powerful program. So she's just joined us. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. And so what are you up to at Christmas? As the usual answer, you know, we're getting there. So what do you usually do at Christmas?
Not a lot. Normally I'd be home and then at my grandparents', but because of the football sector, I'm working quite a lot of the Christmas period. So working Boxing Day, working the 27th to 28th, and then working New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as well. So
Wow. You mean with is this the security that you're doing? So it's not the fun.
this
This is your job. Okay, here's a question. So do you meet famous footballers?
I do. I get asked this a lot. I mean, I think I get asked this so many times. I think, obviously, as a Man City fan, my favourite person I've ever met was Sergio Aguero when he played. But I have the luxury that
that is, but never mind. Go on.
I have the luxury that I can talk to the players to a certain extent. Like I like I'll go, oh, how are you today, mate? Like, are you okay? And down my 95% of football players are down to earth. If they've got time, they will have a conversation with you. Like there's one who plays for surprised.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure to have you on here, Ethan. I'm really excited
Thank you for having me.
about getting your program out there and building up fans for football, keeping people happy, but bringing in new people like me who can understand more the love of this beautiful game of football from a different point of view to the point of view that I always looked at it, for years and years now. Like we were saying, the amount of money, I'm hoping that the world that we're going to see in the next few years is going to change that, and that people will do things, they'll do it from the heart. Like you're doing this program for practically nothing. A lot of young people like you, oh no, I want to be a star. And I know I was like that when I was 19. But nowadays, we know we have to build it up. We have to graft to get to the level. Oh, hi, Maria. Maria was on yesterday. She's doing a program about numbers, and it's absolutely fascinating. I know the mind boggles. You'll have to watch it. It's about removing numbers from our life in the way that how many likes do I get and how many this, and it's a really, really powerful program. So she's just joined us. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. And so what are you up to at Christmas? As the usual answer, we're getting there. So what do you usually do at Christmas?
Not a lot. Normally I'd be at home and then at my grandparents', but because of the football sector, I'm working quite a lot of the Christmas period. So working Boxing Day, working the 27th to 28th, and then working New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as well. So.
Wow, you mean is this the security that you're doing? So it's not the fun thing; it's your job. Here's a question. So do you meet famous footballers?
I do. I get asked this a lot. I get asked this so many times. I think, obviously, as a Man City fan, my favourite person I've ever met was Sergio Aguero when he played. But I have the luxury
that is, but never mind. Go on.
I have the luxury that I can talk to the players to a certain extent. Like I'll go, oh, how are you today, mate? Like, are you okay? And 95% of football players are down to earth. If they've got time, they will have a conversation with you. Like there's one who plays for Crystal Palace called Arabice Eze. Every time he comes to training, how are you today? You okay? And it's just like, it shocks me every time because he doesn't have to do that. He's making millions, but it's just a shock that he recognises someone like me, like a normal person, and he'll go, oh, how are you today? You okay, mate? It's just amazing.
Well, why not, Ethan? You see, this is the problem of the way that people have been conditioned to think that a footballer is a better person than you. No one is better than anyone else. They just know how to kick a ball, in a bet, whatever. You know, they know how
Yeah.
to get a ball into a goal, or then you know, you're an actor or a singer. Do you sing, by the way? Do you sing as well?
No way.
No, no, okay, we won't go there. But you see, society has got to such a level where, to me, why shouldn't someone who cleans toilets or does care assistant or whatever, we should all be paid the same. To
Yeah.
me, none of this works at all. You know, they say to me, "Oh, you're a singer and you should be paid millions." Why? Just because I can sing? And yet, someone who takes care of an old person and keeps them alive gets paid £8 an hour? No, it
Ridiculous.
doesn't work for me at all. So maybe these people, they have the humility to know inside how lucky they are to have been able to have got to such a level. Maybe they'll come on Moving On TV.
You never know.
We'll
You never
see.
know.
We'll see. We'll see. You know, we don't know. Anyway, it's been incredible. Thank you so much for coming on here. I'm just going to ask you to do a little bit of breathing when we finish as well. And when you go to because I couldn't hear the sound. I don't know, did you check it? I can't hear the sound at all
Yes.
in what you sent me.
I will have to have a look at that. I could
Listed,
hear
but
it,
I
but I'll
can't
have
hear
to
the
have a look.
sounds. If you could, yeah, and just take a little pause here and there, you know, and smile. Always smile. That's one of the things that, you know, my father was, the show must go on. When my father died, I went on and I got a 5-star review the night
Wow.
my father died, because the show must go on. And I got a 5-star review of a standing ovations. Two things, my dad. One was the show must go on. The second was smile.
That's amazing.
Always smile, because when you smile, you connect, and you can then pass it forward. Imagine if someone has had a terrible day and they go on and they see Ethan and he's got this smile. There you go. I got you going there again. It's
Always.
beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you had
Thank
fun
you.
as I did. And I shall speak to you soon. Lots of love,
100%.
Ethan, and have a
Cheers.
lovely time in Bromley or wherever you are. Okay.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Ethan Sykes. Ethan Sykes, our new football commentator, who's going to bring the beautiful game in a very positive, enlightening, inspirational way to Moving On TV. Thank you, Alexander, who's still here. Thank you for supporting the interview. Please sign up for more programs on Moving On TV Mental Health on YouTube. And I hope you can enjoy the other programs. And obviously, Alexander, if you got any talents or you want to do your own show, then please contact me. We're moving on TV1 at gmail.com. Moving on TV1 at gmail.com. So that was another interview, the Lauren Hope Glory interview. I'm going to sign off now, and then it's now 7:45, and I'm tired. I've had a long day. I'm going to go and make some dinner. I might be back later with some MOTV jukebox. But before I go, I'm going to put on the program Trigger Me, which is all about being triggered, guys, because everything we do here on Moving On TV is to teach you how to deal with things that trigger you. The same way as Ethan was talking about when he was a child and he got detention, non-stop detentions. Imagine if when he was that age, somebody had figured it out. Eventually they figured it out, yeah? And they got him playing football and going on the stage and playing characters in all these nativity plays. Someone paid attention. But he was being triggered because he's sensitive, you know? This ADD, ADHD, BPD, OCD, all these conditions that people are being diagnosed with. I've got all of them. I've got a little bit of all of them, every single one. Like a little bit of paranoia, a little bit of agoraphobia, a little bit of OCD, a little bit of claustrophobia. That's BPD. A little or a lot of depression, laced with it's all about me, narcissism. A couple of Tourette's. Now what comes next? That's BPD. a little bit of autism, a little bit of AD or ADHD, a cup of paranoia. You looking at me? That's BPD. Now add in schizoid tendencies and make it all about me. Narcissism. A spoon of manic states got a lot on our plates with a monkey brain that I cannot train. That's BPD. It's all about me. An OCD, an ADHD, an ADD, and it goes on and on and on. That's BPD. Complex needs disorder. Every single one of us has got some kind of label or has learned something. It's a lot of the time it's learned behavior or it's the food. Ethan told you he was living on Smarties and sugar. As soon as he stopped that, he was able to breathe a little bit more. So you need to learn about the mind, the body, and the spirit. Yeah? I'm going to put on the triggering program it's just an introduction called Trigger Me D, and it's just a little bit of fun.
Okay, welcome to Trigger Me D or Trigger Me Do. I'm not sure what to call it. It's when you get triggered. Hi, I'm Lauren. I think I should call it Trigger Me D. Oh, what a great name, Lauren. Can I present it? Is that okay? Trigger Me D. Trigger Me D, I like it. I love the vibrations, Lauren. Do you think I could present Trigger Me D or Trigger Me Do or whatever? Look, the vibrations match all the colors in my hair. Woo. Oh, come on, guys. You know it's me who should be presenting it. Short red. I get all the views, as everybody knows. Everybody loves red. I think it'd be better if we called it Trigger Me Do. Trigger Me Do, because then people know they have to trigger you. You know what I mean? Not Trigger Me D. It's too much like Riddle Me D, Lauren. And I think I should present it. After all, everybody loves my beautiful long locks, and more people, especially men. Oh, come on, Lauren. You know I should be presenting it with all my beautiful long goddess locks. But I'm not sure whether you should call it Trigger Me D. I think Trigger Me Do, because then you're asking people, please do trigger me, because Trigger Me D is too much like Riddle Me D. Oh, I'm not sure. But I think Trigger Me Do, I really do. Oh, there you go. It works. Trigger Me Do, I really do. It all fits, doesn't it, Lauren? You know what, Lauren? I really think that I should present it. After all, you get most of your views when I'm on, don't we? I'm not sure what to call it. Mini Trigger Me Red Do, because then it could be my program. Oh, come on, girls. You know that I'm the one that gets all the views. After all, you do watch the ratings when I'm on, don't you? I think, I'm not sure. Trigger Me Do, Trigger Me D. Oh, but as long as I can present it, Lauren, do you mind? I mean, come on. You know you're going to get most views when I'm on. You know what? I don't give a shite if you call it Trigger Me Do or Trigger Me D or whatever. That stupid cat keeps me out with me all the time. Now, you trigger me and I'm miserable and even more miserable. So don't give a shite if it's Blondie or it's Red or it's the cat down there, that Ellie, that presents the stupid Trigger Me Do. I'm just protecting my ability, right? But then like that, and I'm miserable. I hate that team song. What have you done with it, Lauren? Shut up on Irish. Team. And you should be working in a team when you start fighting all the time. Red and I think Sally. Now to me, Sally would be my choice. She's 60 years. She's got a nice, gentle, presenting voice, right? Sally, that's my choice. None of you. I think that you get up upset anyway. Or you're going to get all the trolleys. That's all you get with Baba Barta. Someone call. It's Sally here. Oh, I would love to present Trigger Me D, Trigger Me Do, Trigger Me Read, Trigger Me Rue, whatever. Oh, did I get the lead in Cabaret, by the way? You never actually notified me, Lauren. But I'll do my best. You know what? I would love to present this new program. Will you let me? Maybe this time I could present this program. Me, 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 me. Right. As moving on TV is all about peace and not bickering, I'm going to be the one to present it. Fiddle me dee, no. Trigger, take again. Trigger me dee, trigger me do. What difference does it make? Will trigger me dee dee do 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 dee 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 dee. It's all about being triggered. And I am Lauren Hope, here to present it in all my identities and all my glories. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it helps you to not get triggered or to learn how to deal with your triggers, not to struggle with them, to embrace them the same way as I embrace all of them. Thank you. Bye.
What did you do for fun? Anyway, that little program is going to be about being triggered. Okay, and I did do a couple of them. I need to edit them, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on a program. Actually, I need to end the stream because then I've got to edit the program with each
This is Brown Cherub, and I'd like to talk to you about my Jenga theory. Jenga is Swahili for build, and you may be familiar with the word Jenga from a children's game, where the idea of the game is to construct a tower, and each player removes a block or a piece of the tower and has to put that piece on the top of the tower without the tower collapsing. Now, my theory is called Jenga because I'm very much into and researching about removing the pieces of that tower and building and creating something for myself, my future and my children's future. The first part of the construct that I'm building is education, and very recently I removed my older two children from the education system because it was having a really negative impact on their mental health. Having been a teacher myself since 1996, I was very concerned about how my children's mental health was deteriorating, and made quite a controversial decision at that time to remove them from mainstream education. Over my 20 plus years of teaching, I've taught preschool, primary school, secondary education, post-16 education, English as a foreign language. I've also taught in special schools for children with special educational needs, and I've also taught children with behavioural issues. So I felt I had a good enough foundation and background to decide to remove my children from mainstream education and educate them at home. The main reason for that, as I say, was because of their mental health and how their being in the mainstream system was really, really having a negative impact on their mental health. And for me, their mental health is paramount. I feel and believe that education is something that can be accessed at any time in a person's life. It doesn't have to be contained from the ages of 5 to 16. And I have many other strong beliefs about education and how it can be delivered. More recently, since we've had COVID and the pandemic and the subsequent lockdown, it became well, commonplace for everybody to have to educate their children at home. Some people maybe more successfully than others. That is probably yet to be seen. But from that, I have been made aware that more and more parents are choosing to homeschool their children. There's a few areas that I want to make clear before I go any further. First of all, please Please understand that your children have a legal and human right. It is actually one of the human rights to be educated. So if you do decide to homeschool your child, you must actually be educating them. You can't just take them out and, you know, let them kind of sleep till midday and do housework. You must educate them, and that needs to be recorded, and it also needs to be measured. When I say measured, you need to have a kind of an idea of what level and standard they're working at. These are things that I can discuss at a later date, or I can answer questions about later on and give you information as to how you can find that out. So the child does not need to be in formal education. You can opt out of mainstream education, but as I say, your child has a human right, a legally binding human right to be educated. So you must fully educate them from home. However, the notion of education seems to be, as far as I can see, quite a loose and general phrase. So education could be many and very different things, and also from home could also mean many and very different things. You can access things in your community, you can access things online, you can access things from different parts of your community, or just going to particular events. There are organisations that set up support for parents who are opting to homeschool their children, or you can just go it alone, focus on a few core subjects and just teach them that. Go into your local community centre, your local sports centre, your local church, or other places of worship. There's lots and lots of ways you can educate your child at home. And for those parents who are wanting to opt for that, please do feel free to get in touch, and I will help to signpost you onto different areas. But the main reason I wanted to talk about this today specifically was because of the impact it can have on children's mental health. Now, being in education for over 20 years, I've seen lots and lots of children who, the way I describe them is that it felt like we were forcing a square peg into a round hole. The child may have special needs, special educational needs, they may have health problems. There's lots and lots of reasons. Some children just don't function well in large groups. Some children just don't want to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and start a day at 9. For some children, they have attachment issues with their family and parents. So there's lots and lots of reasons I could go on, and I'm sure any parent who like myself has had an experience of their child being unhappy at school has their own personal reasons, but I do feel that what is lacking in our society, at least, is there are many alternatives. And I feel that I personally am looking into alternatives. And I would love to create an alternative education system for those children who don't necessarily fit into mainstream education. And, you know, I don't feel that a child needs to have a diagnosis of any kind, be that SEN or physical health. I just feel that a child should have a choice of how and where they want to be educated. Moving further into education, in terms of college, university, there becomes more choice, but it seems to be that generally in primary education especially, there are starting to be things like farm schools, Montessori has been going for preschools for quite some time, but for me there isn't enough. There should be a broader range, so that, you know, when not still operating under a one-size-fits-all, because as we know, as parents or anybody who knows children, there's certainly not a one-size-fits-all. So for me, I made the decision because, as I say, mainstream school was having a detrimental effect on my children's mental health and well-being. And I just believed that there was no point arguing and fighting against the system. So the best thing I could do for my children is to use my energy to make them happy, to continue to educate them, to help them to fit in. With other friends, we found friends in other places. We did lots and lots of the things. I learned lots and lots of things at home. I accessed the curriculum online. Being a teacher myself, I was very much aware of websites that I could use. Yes, we are fortunate. I have access at home to a printer. Ink, paper and all those sorts of things. And if you're unfortunate, or less fortunate I should say, and don't have access to those things, then again, please get in touch, because there are organisations who can help and support you, and who will help and support you. And there are ways as well of not fully withdrawing a child from the education system. There are some education facilities that can work side by side. They can support you with a part-time timetable or a flexible timetable. There are education organisations who are willing to do that, and there are some organisations out there who can support you with education and that aren't even schools at all. So there are lots and lots of options. And I always feel that if you want to be free, for want of a better word, then what we need collectively is more options. We need more options that we can choose from, so that we're making the right choices for ourselves moving forward and for our children if we have them. So upon making that decision, I had to sign paperwork. My children were removed from the school, removed from the education system. There is no money given to you. Now, when your child is in the education system, your child is allocated a certain amount of money. If they have special needs, they're allocated extra money on top. There's also extra money for things like if they have free school meals, and if you live in a certain postcode or area. and so forth. So my children were allocated a portion of money within the system when I remove them from that system, the money doesn't come with them. So don't think you're going to get your child's allocated amount of money. You won't. You'll be left on your own. To provide your child's resources. Once you remove your child from the education system, the school will notify your local LEA and let them know that they are being homeschooled. They will give them your details, and you may well get a visit from somebody from the LEA or somebody that they appoint to come visit the child to make sure that the child is okay, that the child is being educated, and that the child is happy in terms of, you know, you're not making them clean the house, or you haven't got them working for the family business or something like that. So I'm just letting you know and making you aware that to educate your child at home is a choice. Now, going back to the mental health part, of this whole scenario. enough time. There was never enough time to do that, have that process with every child that I was teaching. And I, as a teacher, used to find that very, very frustrating. So when I was homeschooling my children, they had the opportunity to do that. Now, don't get me wrong, my children were high achievers. They're very bright. They were doing very well at school. They were, when they left school, they were already overachieving in terms of the levels that they were expected to have for their age. So I didn't have the worry of whether I, was doing the right thing or not, because first of all, I'm a teacher, so I knew what the right thing was to do. But second of all, they were already overachieving. They were high achievers. So they were, all I had to do was maintain that level that they were at. They are both back in mainstream, well, kind of. My oldest is back in mainstream education, but she's at college now, so she's able to choose the subjects that she wants to do, and she's very, very happy at the moment. My son is in a part-time course, but they supplement the course with other activities. But it's for children who have been withdrawn from mainstream education. It's called an elected homeschool education programme, and he again is just focusing on certain subjects, and he's attaining a very high level. So I'm not boasting, I'm not bragging. What I'm doing is I'm giving you an option, and it's a route that I took and how I was able to take it. So if your child is not achieving at a certain level, I'm not saying don't homeschool them. What I'm saying is maybe you might need a little bit extra support. You may need some extra advice from possibly a qualified teacher, a home tutor. Those are also available. But of course you would have to finance that yourself. As I say as well, there's also organisations, community organisations that you can find that will offer support. And if you can't find a community group, create one. You can actually do that. You can actually create your own community group. Let's not use the word school. Community group that can help educate each other's children and go on outings, do activities, walk in the parks and stuff like that, things together that you can do to educate your child. And just bear in mind that their mental health and their well-being is paramount. It's the most important thing. They can do GCSEs at any time in their life. They can access Open University. You can go to college. When you're an adult, you can do night classes. They can go to university at any age. So don't feel that education is something that's in a box and it has a time limit. It doesn't. And a part of the whole Dijenga project for me, or my Dijenga theory, is trying to shift people's thinking from being inside the box and just doing enough research to understand how thinking can be put in a box, but actually we can just kind of step out of that box and do things in a completely different way, or not even in a completely different way if you're not going to be that radical, but in a slightly different way. Try something a little bit different. What I've also found is that my daughter was able to go into college without any problem, having been elected home educated. My son is already looking at college places, and the college that we've looked at so far was not at all put off by the fact that he had been elected home educated and that he is on a part-time elected home education course. I think that is because of his expected grades, and my daughter got the grades that were required for her to go on to do her course, and the course that she's doing is now actually equivalent to A-levels. So, you know, what I said to both of my children is that many roads lead to Rome. We don't all have to take the same route through life. We don't all have to take the same path through life. And I think if you are a parent of children with special needs or physical health needs, and my children have both, don't, and I say don't loosely, I'm not here to tell people what to do or preach to people. What I'm just trying to say is you don't have to force your child to walk a path that isn't for them. We can be pioneers. We can carve out new paths for our children. We can carve out and explore different ways of achieving the same thing. We can create opportunities for them that possibly aren't there. For example, I worked at a school for children with special needs and was told in one of the teacher training events that I can't remember exactly, let's say for example, less than 25% of people with special needs are in full-time employment. Now, I've taught my children lots and lots of entrepreneurial skills, let's say, for how they can access money, earn money, make money online. And, you know, I don't want them to feel that because they have special needs that they can't access full-time employment. They can still earn money, they can still make money. One of my children suffers with anxiety. She's working on that at the moment. And so doesn't like to be in big crowds, doesn't like to be around strangers. So I've given her some skills that she can do and employ at home from her bedroom or wherever, as long as you can access the internet and generate an income in that way. So, you know, what we as parents of special needs children need to try and do is to give our children a different set of tools, give them a toolbox that contains many and varied tools that they can use and access throughout life. A fear of many parents who are parents of children with special needs is that, will my child manage when I'm gone? I'm not going to be here forever, I won't be able to help them. The world seems so hard and so harsh. You know, who's going to help them when I'm gone? So what we do, my theory, is that we equip them as best we can. We build up their confidence, we build up their self-esteem, we show them how to navigate the world their way. We help them to not feel that they're competing against other people. We help them to believe that they can achieve, and it might take a bit longer and it might have to be a different route, but they can still achieve. We listen to them, we believe in them, and if they're saying that they want to do certain things, then we help them to do that. My son, as I've said, is very bright, very academically able and capable, and he wants to be a drummer. Yeah, and I'm saying, you know, you sure you don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or, you know, an entrepreneur? No, he wants to be a drum. And so I'm supporting him with that. I'm not going to be a dream stealer. I'm not going to tell him what he can or can't do. I'm not going to tell him what's right for his life path. I'm going to support him because as a parent who loves him, that is what I'm supposed to do. And I feel that, you know, as a special needs parent especially, but any parent who loves their child, we need to listen to them and we need to support them to do what they came here to do. And I feel that from a mental health perspective, for young people and for parents, because I feel a lot of parents are very disappointed and very disgruntled with their child's life choices and decisions and lifestyles, but I feel that much of that disappointment and that feeling of dissatisfaction comes from the fact that we had a certain expectation for our child and we already wanted them to be this or to do that, and we can avoid that type of conflict and, you know, disagreement and fallout if we understand that our children don't come here to live our lives and to fulfill the things that we want. They come here to do what they came here to do. We've all come here to do something. We all have our own passions, our own purpose, our own take on things. You know, we're all so unique, and we all come here to bring something unique and different to the planet, to the time that we are in, to the place that we are in. And, you know, children with special needs or physical health problems have also come with that purpose and have also got those desires and those dreams and that purpose. And, You know, we really need to help them to achieve that. And a part of my passion and a part of my purpose, I believe, is to help people, to help others, and especially those people who maybe feel that they've got an additional challenge because of mental health problems, because of learning disabilities or physical disabilities. You know, I watch the Paralympics every year, and I'm absolutely in awe of those athletes, because they show me year on year that and I know Olympics is every 4 years, but them as people and those athletes are there all the time, so you can always watch what they've done through YouTube or through other social media channels. But they are such an inspiration when you can consider how much they can do with what they have. And I really feel that that is a huge social message for us all. We all have to, or should be, doing as much as we can with what we have, you know. And some people are doing outstanding and awesome and amazing things, and some of us in society are not even aware of the gifts that we have, or the talents that we have, or the skills that we have, and how much we have to share. And that might have been drummed out of you through parents, it might have been drummed out of you at school, it might have been just that you haven't had anyone believe in you. And I'm here to say to you on this show today that I completely believe in you. I can help you find a way. I can help you achieve. I'm not saying it's going to, like I said, I don't have a magic wand. I'm nobody's fairy godmother, but I am also a life coach. And, you know, it's all about perspective. It's all about how we choose to view the world that we live in. It's all about mindset. And it's all about having just even one person. I did some mentoring for a young lady who was what we call looked after child, which means that she was in the care system. And I spoke to her once and I said, do you feel disadvantaged because you weren't raised by your natural parents? And she said no. She said, I don't believe that you need to have your birth parents to support you. I just think everybody needs one person who believes in them and who is going to encourage them and help them to achieve, and that's enough. And I just thought, wow, imagine that if every person just had one person to believe in them and help them achieve. And you know, I did a lot of research through my teaching career, through my coaching career, and I've read a lot of autobiographies and biographies of famous people and entrepreneurs, and I find that a lot of them, that is one thing I can say is a common thread, that they all refer to one person that turned it round. Let me do that again. Yeah, that turned it round for them, that believed in them, and it could have been a parent, it could have been a coach, it could have been a partner, it could have been somebody from their religious background, just one person. So I'm willing to be that one person for anybody who doesn't have anybody. I'm willing to be that one person for a person who's got 100 people who believe in them. I will be your cheerleader. I will shout for you. I will advocate for you. I will support you. And I hope these shows will be shared and that you will like and subscribe to this channel, and that you will share and talk about it and think about how you're making your decisions. Are you making informed decisions? Are you challenging the status quo? Are you looking outside of the box? There's a parable or a little story that I'll just tell you before I finish, and it's about the frog in the well, and you've probably heard about this before, but if you haven't, and forgive me if I paraphrase it, but basically there's a frog in a well, and the frog is at the bottom of the well and is looking up at the sky and believes that the sky is only that big because when the frog is at the bottom of the well and looks up, that is all of the sky that the frog can see. Imagine how big the sky would look if the frog was able to get out of the well. And that is my message to you. That is my gift to you for today. Think about how big the sky is. Think about, are you in a well just looking up at a tiny little fraction of it? Are you stuck inside of a box that you've kind of constructed for yourself? Or maybe society has constructed the box, but are you deciding to get out of the box? Are you deciding to take a little peek out of the box? Are you going to decide to leave the box altogether and start something new and see what life has and what potential you can reach? So these are all questions for you. Do feel free to leave a message or a comment, as I say. I'm Brown Cherub, and I'm going to be talking to you about my gender theory. And I'll be talking about something slightly different next time, so I hope you will join me. If you do want any more information about the education system that I've talked about today, again, do feel free to leave a comment. And so I'm going to end there. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.